A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant development, a ceasefire agreement aimed at halting over a year of intense fighting between Israel and the Lebanese militia Hezbollah is anticipated to be announced on Tuesday evening. This announcement is expected to come from U.S. President Joe Biden and French President Emmanuel Macron, with the ceasefire potentially taking effect on Wednesday. The Biden administration has been actively working on brokering a truce for several months, driven by concerns about regional escalation that could involve Hezbollah's key ally, Iran. The conflict originally erupted 13 months ago when Hezbollah began launching rockets and shells at Israel, following an attack on Israel by the Palestinian group Hamas, which initiated the ongoing Gaza war. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu indicated that he would recommend his cabinet approve the ceasefire deal, although he withheld further details. A full cabinet vote is expected later today. The ceasefire agreement is said to align with the principles outlined in UN Security Council Resolution 1701, which was meant to conclude the 2006 Israel-Hezbollah war but was never fully realized. Under the proposed terms, Israel's military would withdraw from southern Lebanon, while Hezbollah would relocate its heavy weaponry north of the Litani River, approximately 16 miles from the border. During a proposed 60-day transition phase, the Lebanese army would be deployed to the buffer zone alongside the existing United Nations peacekeeping forces. Following this period, discussions regarding long-standing border disputes are expected to take place. A U.S.-led supervisory mechanism would monitor the agreement, ensuring compliance from both parties. Reports suggest that a letter of assurance, not formally part of the deal, would guarantee U.S. support for Israel's actions in the event of future attacks by Hezbollah or any movement of its forces or weapons south of the Litani. The Biden administration's pressure on Israel to agree to a ceasefire included warnings that failure to do so could result in the U.S. not vetoing a UN Security Council resolution that would impose a ceasefire under unfavorable conditions for Israel. Elias Bousab, the deputy speaker of the Lebanese parliament, stated on Monday that there were no significant obstacles remaining to implementing the truce. Additionally, reports from the New York Times indicated that the deal has received approval from Hezbollah's backers in Iran, who are keen to maintain their deterrent capabilities against Israel. As the fighting has intensified over recent days, both sides have been engaged in efforts to solidify their gains. Israel has conducted extensive airstrikes on Beirut and southern Lebanon, while Hezbollah launched a barrage of over 200 rockets into Israel, marking one of the heaviest attacks since the conflict's inception. The escalation reached a peak in late September when an attack attributed to Israel targeted Hezbollah, leading to the deaths of many of its leaders and prompting a ground invasion of southern Lebanon. The toll of the conflict has been severe, with approximately 3,700 fatalities reported in Lebanon and 126 in Israel since the fighting began. Hundreds of thousands of civilians on both sides have been displaced from their homes, highlighting the humanitarian crisis resulting from the prolonged hostilities. Importantly, Hezbollah has reportedly dropped its previous demand that a ceasefire in Lebanon be contingent upon an end to the fighting in Gaza. The collapse of a truce in the Gaza war last November has led to repeated failures in ceasefire negotiations, with Qatar recently announcing it would step back from mediating until both parties demonstrated genuine willingness to engage in talks. Although Israel's official policy does not advocate for the permanent occupation of Gaza, senior defense officials have indicated intentions to annex significant portions of the territory. As the ceasefire agreement edges closer to realization, questions remain regarding its details and whether it will hold. The Israeli cabinet has now approved the ceasefire through the Lebanese government, which is expected to convene and endorse the deal shortly. Once implemented, the agreement would mandate Israeli troops to withdraw from southern Lebanon while requiring Hezbollah to cease its armed presence in the area. This process is projected to take 60 days, during which the Lebanese army will be tasked with monitoring the ceasefire, supported by an international task force led by the United States and including French peacekeepers. The Lebanese army is expected to expand its role, particularly in the south, where it will become the sole armed entity, taking control of all arms. Despite the hopeful developments, lingering uncertainties remain. A Hezbollah leader indicated that the group's support for the ceasefire is contingent upon assurances that Israel will refrain from renewing its attacks. The European Union's foreign policy chief remarked that the deal addresses Israel's security concerns, further emphasizing the complex dynamics at play in this fragile situation. In summary, the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hezbollah represents a critical juncture in a conflict that has caused immense suffering on both sides. As the world watches closely, the success of this ceasefire will depend on the commitment of all parties involved to uphold its terms and work towards a more stable and peaceful future. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.